Hi, this is Stacy with Ellebee Creates by Stacy. Welcome back, and if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. So I got this really cool steampunk vinyl from 311 Co. and I posed the question in my Facebook group if people wanted me to make something on a 24-ounce plump and a 24-ounce travel, and they picked both. So today's tutorial is the plump, and I'm starting off with a tumbler that I prepped, spray painted, and glittered using the glitter glue method using Riflemans Creed, which is this awesome, like super sparkly blackish gray from Peachy Olive Glitters. I put that glitter on there, I let it sit for 3 hours, and now I'm going in with my first coat of epoxy. This is 20 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I'm going to let this spin for 4 hours and then go right in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy and let that spin for another 4 hours and get it nice and smooth so that I can start working with this really cool vinyl. So for this tumbler, I wanted to do kind of like a V-split with it, but I didn't want to do a traditional V-split. I wanted to do like a double. So I have a template that I got from Ellebee Creates, which I'll link in the description. And I printed out the template onto some regular cardstock just because I wanted to cut some stuff out myself. So I decided to, make it a little bit easier on myself. So I'm going in and cutting out the first V out of the vinyl. And now I'm going to cut along and make the inner part of the vinyl separate from the actual V. And then I'm going to set the V off to the side, and I'm going to make this big triangle into some more of the pieces. So once I go ahead and set this off to the side, then I'll start showing you how I'm going to cut up the triangle to create the second V. Okay, so now that I'm done with the first V, I'm going to take this triangle that I have and I'm going to take this smaller triangle that I took the original size of it and I cut down 1.5 inches off of it, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut the second V that I'll be using off of here, and then that will give me a smaller triangle to put at the top of the tumbler. I needed to do this so that I could have 1.5 inches V where it's going to be the glitter. So now I'm going to use the hinge method to go ahead and put this original V that I cut out, and this is where you need to be very precise with where you're going to place it, because this is going to kind of set where everything is going to go. So it doesn't have to be perfect. There's going to be some line work in there, but you want to try to get it on there as close to possible of where it actually needs to be. Now that I have it lined up, I'm just going to go ahead and do one side at a time, peeling back the backing on there and placing it so that it fits as good as possible without any bubbles on there. And now that I have the V placed on there, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as it is. I didn't trim any pieces off just in case I have to make any adjustments to it. And now I'm going to go ahead and use the hinge method to apply that small triangle that I cut out, putting it right at the top. That is something that definitely needs to stay placed there. And then I did realize after I did that the lining wasn't measuring up good, so I did very carefully remove the V, and now I'm going in and placing it again, and I raised it up a little bit higher because I just didn't like how the placement of it was. I know this is a really crazy intricate design, and as I was doing it, I kept saying there's got to be an easier way, but I was already halfway in it and I cut up my vinyl, so I just kept rolling with it. So here I am placing it. I did raise it up a little bit because now it's going to make it so that it looks better on the other side. And now we'll start trimming out the vinyl for the other side. So with that, I'm taking that second V that I had cut out when I had made the triangle smaller, And I'm going to go ahead and just use some painter's tape to help me line that up so I can kind of see where it needs to be. I'm going to take a tape measure and make sure that it's even on both sides. And then I'll use the hinge method to go ahead and apply this.
Time can't pass us by. This bond makes us stronger just to be together. Can we drop this?
Now that I have both of the V's on there, I'm going to go ahead and take the triangle template that I had and measure it out to make the last triangle. I'm going to cut it down so that it fits in there properly. I measured it to make sure that it was all right, and then I'm going to take a piece of my vinyl that I have left over and cut out that final triangle, and then use the hinge method to apply it, and then measure it out to make sure it measures properly.
To keep it rolling, there's no time to be wasting. I'd just rather move it up.
Now that I have all of the steampunk vinyl on there, I'm going to go take my tape measure and just kind of line it up, make sure that everything is relatively close. I will be doing some detail work, so if it's not perfect, I'll be able to hide it a little bit. And now I'm going to trim everything up and use my little edger here that I got from Camipaige Boutique. Trim all the top and the bottom, and then we're going to go in with another coat of epoxy. I'm going in with 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I will let this spin for 4 hours. Then I'm going to sand it down lightly, and then I'm going to start doing all of my edging. So because I went with such a dark glitter for this vinyl, I decided that my edging lines, I wanted it to be done in like a tannish color. It's almost like a cream colored vinyl that I just picked up at Michael's one day, and it was just a 12 by 12 sheet. So I went ahead and I trimmed out my lines like I always do, and I'm just going to go ahead and place all of these on here and make sure that I have everything lined up. This is where, if everything's not exactly perfect, you can kind of manipulate it so that it looks like everything was placed there perfectly. That's one of the great things about doing this final edging.
Time
And then I'm just going to go in with a thinner edging line right through the center here, and I'm using one of my rose gold holographic vinyls that I got from Tech Wrap Crafts, and I'll link that in the description. I picked it up right at Amazon, and I'm just going to go over all of the edging work with that. While I'm getting all this edging work done, I just wanted to remind you to check out my Facebook group, Ellebee Crafters Community Facebook group. This is specifically for crafters or anybody that's doing any kind of resin work or thinking about it or wants to get information. I'll link that in the description as well. And then now I'm just trimming up all of my final edges here. And then I decided to go in with one more super thin line of this cream colored regular vinyl, and I just wanted to do an extra little bit of fine work on there just to give it a little bit more. You could totally be done at this point, but I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to all these super thin lines. So once I get all of these on here, the design will pretty much be ready for epoxy.
We just got to keep it rolling. There's no time to be wasting. I'd just rather move it along. Got both feet but in different waters. I need space more than orders. I'd just rather move it along. I know.
And now I am going in with 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I'll let this spin for 3 hours. I'll sand it down really good, making sure that I have all of it super fine and smooth. And then I'm going to go in with another 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters medium viscosity Artist Cure resin. I'll let this spin for 8 to 10 hours and then it will be all ready. I did do a glitter butt on here and I did not film it, but it is going to be in the part 2 video because I decided to add some actual details to the glitter butt. So because it's steampunk, I decided to do some steampunk elements on the bottom. There they are. And it is so beautiful. It really adds so much dimension. I love it. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button. And I'm going to be posting another video later this week. Bye-bye.